Here are some red flags to look out for when selecting an employee retention tax credit provider. The IRS has issued multiple warnings about national employee retention tax credit agencies, or as the IRS refers to them, tax credit mills. You have to be careful when working with one of these organizations to make sure that their interests are aligned with your interests as the business owner, and to make sure that these organizations are going to be around to protect you in the event that you befall any IRS scrutiny. Here are some common signs and some warnings to know if you're dealing with an employee retention tax credit mill. The first warning or red flag is to understand who you're talking with. Many of these employee retention tax credit mills employ salespeople rather than relying on tax professionals. Oftentimes, the salesperson will go through a very short qualification and will be able to qualify you and tell you that you're going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars in a matter of mere minutes. The reality of the situation is the employee retention tax credit is complex, and the analysis associated with the process requires a lot of care and diligence. Anybody trying to gloss over that analysis is not doing you any favors. The second red flag that you need to be wary of is organizations that charge a high contingency fee in exchange for filing your employee retention tax credit. Charging a high contingency fee creates a natural conflict of interest between the organization or the credit mill that's filing your credit claim and you as a business owner. The reason for this is the organization is financially incentivized to potentially inflate your credit or to file for the maximum credit possible, irrespective of the risk to your business. In contrast, organizations that charge a much more reasonable contingency fee or have flat fee or otherwise dynamic pricing models are more likely to be fair and impartial when it comes to your employee retention tax credit claim. The third red flag in working with an employee retention tax credit mill is the inability to speak with a tax attorney. Many tax mills advertise the fact that you'll work with a CPA or a licensed tax professional instead of actually working with an attorney. The problem with this is that when you move into the second part of the credit, when you move beyond the gross receipts test and looking at the impact test and whether or not your business was impacted by a government order, this requires a legal analysis. What you're essentially doing is taking the law surrounding the credit, and applying your factual situation of your business to the law to determine your eligibility. This is through and through a legal analysis. And so without speaking to a tax attorney or without having somebody with a legal background do this type of analysis, your credit claim may not be what you think it is. Therefore, it's really important to speak with a licensed tax attorney to understand your eligibility for the credit, to understand the strength of your case, and to understand any risk factors that are involved with you filing for the credit.